So today I'm going to be walking you through some of my quick and easy meals from your home preserved food, because as much as I actually love to just kind of sit and look at the jars filled with food, I think it happens to be a work of art. We want to make sure that we're actually using the food that we've worked so hard to preserve. And one of my favorite staples, which you can watch the video on how to make and can the easy way your own homemade tomato sauce, or I should say my favorite way. But having tomato sauce is one of the most versatile things that you can have in your kitchen cupboard. And it also means that you don't ever have to buy condensed tomato soup from the store again. And today I'm going to show you my favorite quick and easy tomato soup recipe. So it starts with homemade tomato sauce. And then the other ingredient is home canned bone broth. Now you can use chicken broth, you can use beef broth, you can use whatever version of broth that you happen to have. I also have a recipe and tutorial for how to make and pressure can your bone broth here on the channel that you can go and check out as well as written tutorials on the website. So we'll have links to those. But I'm going to show you how to combine these in a really super easy and delicious homemade tomato soup. And for fun, we're going to be cooking it on the wood stove. So this is a really easy soup to prep. But one of the things, you can watch the full video on how to cook on a wood stove that we just did. But one of the things is easiest is to do as much prep as you can in the kitchen and then take it over to the wood stove, because I don't have a wonderful island right in front of my wood stove in order to do cooking with. So for this soup, it's equal amounts of broth and tomato sauce. So I happen to have these in pints, but obviously if you have them in quarts or a larger size family, you can just simply up the ratio. Oops, got a little bit of that there, as needed. So here is our lovely tomato sauce that was from this past year's harvest. We're gonna get that in our jar. And then here is our broth. And I'm gonna use a spatula and get every last little bit of wonderful tomato-ness out. And then this is a mix of spices. So I've got some of my Redmond's real salt in there. I've also got a coupon code. This is the salt that I use. It's mined and made in the USA. And it's the salt that I use for canning. I use it for fermenting and regular cooking. And I've got a coupon code with you guys, so we'll put that link in the video description. But I do about a half a teaspoon of salt, a tablespoon of nutritional yeast, and then a teaspoon of garlic powder and onion powder. So that's the seasonings that we're gonna put in here. All right, and now we're gonna go and cook this on the wood stove. Now, obviously, if you don't have the wood stove going, don't worry about it. You can just heat it over medium heat on your regular stovetop just as easily. Okay, so if you didn't catch the video walking you through step-by-step tutorial how to cook on the wood stove and bake that we did last week, you make sure and go back and watch this. But cooking on the wood stove when you're doing something that's just like heating up a soup or frying is really, really easy, because it's really no different than doing it on your stovetop. Just making sure that it is properly heated and that it's hot enough that it will bring it to a simmer. So this is all fully cooked. Obviously it was canned tomato sauce and it was canned bone broth, and we're just using powders. So there's nothing that actually needs to be sauteed and cooked on here. So we're just gonna put this on here until it is heated all the way through. And then we will add one little ingredient at the end that makes it oh so decadent and scrumptious. And remember, because this is on a surface that is hot, not just a burner that's underneath the pot, all parts of the pot will get really hot. So when you come back to check it or just stir it, make sure that you are using a hot pad. All right, and we have just hit a simmer. So we've got some bubbles coming up here. So that means soup is done and ready to come off. All right. Now our final ingredient that we're going to add to this. Now you can add a lot or a little, totally up to you as to how rich you want this to be, but we're gonna add a little bit of heavy cream. I like to do about, probably about a 1/4 cup. which is 4 tablespoons that we're gonna put in here. And I could have just eyeballed it, but we'll do measuring for fun, even though I'm not normally a very precise cook. And we're gonna get that whisked in, and we'll get this dished up. Now, for making your homemade tomato sauce, you definitely wanna make sure that you have a good paste tomato. 2 of my favorites is, the first is an heirloom San Marzano Lungo. I have grown that tomato for, oh my goodness, probably about 10 to 12 years now. It's really prolific. It's a great meaty tomato, meaning you get nice thick sauces without having to simmer forever. Great flavor. But last year, I actually grew quite a bit of the Amish paste, and I was very happy with the Amish paste as well. It's an excellent tomato sauce, or saucing tomato, in the Roma family. But again, really great flavor, nice and thick and meaty. And I did notice, I didn't really have much blossom end rot, but the San Marzano tend to be a little bit more susceptible to blossom end rot than the Amish paste. So I had, I think I did 20 plants, 10 of each, and the Amish paste didn't get any blossom end rot. And then on the San Marzano, I had 5 tomatoes. So not 5 plants, but I just had 5 tomatoes total throughout the whole season that I had a little bit of blossom end rot. Part of that was really more inconsistent watering that I had to do with our calcium levels. Those were all fine. But we had record-breaking heat last year where we had 120-degree Fahrenheit here in the Pacific Northwest. And my tomatoes are in a high tunnel. And so oh my gosh, I don't even know how hot it got in there. I was afraid to look. Usually on a hot summer day, it's about 15 to 20 degrees hotter in the high tunnel, even with all of the doorways opened up for as much air ventilation. So I think that actually had more to do with it than it did anything else. But we still did get a decent tomato crop. And if you are seed starting or planning and wanting to grow more of your own crops so that you can preserve your food and then eat that food throughout the winter months so it goes full cycle throughout the whole year, you definitely want to make sure that you are doing some paste tomatoes. And if you need help with getting those seeds started indoors, you can check out this video where I walk you through all of my tomato seed starting tips and success. We are gonna do just a little bit of some dried oregano on top. And hopefully this is cool enough now, because I tell you what, I am starving and this smells so good. We need to get into this. That is worth all of the months and weeks it takes to grow tomatoes. I kind of just want to pick the bowl up and drink it, but I'll be civilized and use a spoon. If you want the printable recipe of this, you can head on over to the blog and you can grab that. And I hope that you enjoy it as much as I do.